Ellie seemed to have had hers for years without ever having had to ask. Her sister was glowing, as usual. Ellie leaned over to kiss her on the cheek. "Nice to see you," she said, and Abby felt the soft warmth of Ellie's skin, smelled the high-quality shampoo in her lustrous blonde waves, just as she caught sight of her own reflection in the hall mirror, red nose and sleet-flattened hair. Ellie had always been the one to draw the looks. On the rare occasions the two of them went out together, Abby felt very much in Ellie's shadow, the invisible girl, while men fluttered around her sister like hummingbirds around nectar. She told herself it didn't matter, that the men wouldn't be the type she'd go for anyway. But when it happened, every single time, it couldn't help but bug her. And then there was that time Ellie had stepped well over the line, just after that boat trip they'd been on. Abby felt herself start to simmer and quickly put the resentment to the back of her mind. Now was not the moment to rake up old animosity. "It's been a while," said Ellie dryly, and Abby was immediately reminded of how her sister had emailed some time ago, suggesting they meet for dinner one night. Abby tried to remember all the conferences and board meetings that had taken place since then, and thought it might have been back in the autumn. That was months ago, she realised, and felt a pang of guilt. "Ah, Abby, it's you," said Susanna, appearing from the kitchen with a glass of wine in her hand. Who else would it be? Thought Abby. "Hi, Mum. Thanks for having us." Susanna waved a hand in a gesture of generosity. "Oh, it's a pleasure. You know I like to spend Christmas with my daughters." She beamed, but her eye contact was with Ellie, Abby noticed. More wine was poured, and a shop-prepared shepherd's pie pulled out of the oven. They ate, catching up on news. Ellie had a colleague whom she didn't much like, a woman called Zoe, who'd recently been promoted to trainee teacher. "What's wrong with her?" asked Abby. "She's all targets and plans," said Ellie. "Teaching doesn't come parcelled up like that." Abby secretly thought targets sounded like a good thing, but recognised she knew very little about teaching. "And she's hardly been at the school, only a year. She doesn't understand the kids yet, not properly." Her sister was clearly disgruntled. Abby decided to rally. "You should have gone for it yourself. You've worked as a teaching assistant there for years, haven't you? And aren't you covering loads of lessons single-handedly? Must have masses of experience over this new girl. I bet if you'd applied for the job, you would have wiped the floor with her." Silence descended. Abby looked up from her dinner, saw her mother and sister watching her. Suddenly it dawned. "Oh, sorry. I didn't know." "I didn't want to just put it in an email," said Ellie pointedly. "I never know if you read them." Abby felt a wash of shame. She knew Ellie was talking about the fact they were meant to have met up. Abby had never replied. "Sorry," she said. "Work. There's been a few changes." She stumbled, evasively. "It's kept me more occupied than usual." "What changes?" asked Susanna. "Sorry?" "You said there were changes." She had. Damn it. Why hadn't she thought before opening her big mouth? And now they were both looking at her again. I had a promotion." "Oh, right," said Ellie. "What kind of promotion?" I've been made a director." Abby knew she sounded apologetic, and it rankled. She was over the moon about her new role, had worked so hard for it. "Congratulations," said Ellie, eventually. "Thank you." "Yes, congratulations, Abby, that's great," said her mother breezily. "Now, who's for dessert?" Abby knew she wasn't a child anymore and didn't need her mother's approval, but it still stung. When does that feeling of longing for parental endorsement